Al, what are your recollections of him? I mean, what was he? Was he tough to deal with from your perspective, or what was it from your end with Herb Brooks, Al?
I think it was very tough for the press, but for me, it was very simple. And for that, I can thank Ken Dryden, because Ken, of course, had won the Stanley Cup multiple times, the Vezina Trophy in Montreal, and he had retired. And of course, Ken is unbelievably bright and, maybe the most book smart athlete I've ever been, maybe the most book smart person I've ever encountered in my life. And so Herb had this affinity, with Ken, and he wanted to pick Ken's brain. So as a consequence, on every off night, Brooks would come over to our hotel to have a couple of beers, and we'd have him for an hour. So we had the access to Brooks that nobody else had, thanks to Ken Dryden. But Brooks was as interested in what Kenny had to say as we were in trying to figure out, what we could glean from what Herb had to say. He was a fascinating man. Listening to, Jim talking about him, I can see exactly what he did. It all worked out perfectly. And, just another quick story. In 2000, Sports Illustrated brought all the great athletes from the 20th century into Madison Square Garden for a show on CBS. And they had the top 10 greatest sports moments of the 20th century. And this, of course, was number one. And they asked me to introduce it, and the team, and Herb comes out, and the team gets the 14,000 people in the garden that night. Place goes crazy. So now we're walking down a little staircase to go behind the stage, and I'm walking next to Herb. And Herb says, "How could they vote that number one?" And I said, "Herb, won't you ever understand? Please enjoy what happened. It's the greatest moment of the 20th century in sports, certainly in North America." So it was almost as if there was a part of Herb that just couldn't accept how fantastic this was to everybody else. He was a coach through and through. Look, he could have been the king of America a week after the Olympics. What's he doing? He goes to Switzerland to coach a club team. He was a hockey coach.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.